Mike Mack, a former intern with the Baltimore Ravens, becomes the defensive coordinator and then is hired away to Seattle to be their head coach. But before any of his NFL coaching days began, he was at the University of Georgia. He was just trying to get in front of any locker room he could, trying to just get on the gridiron as a coach anywhere he could. He was a volunteer coach at Cedar Shoals High School in Athens, Georgia. And then he's a grad assistant for the Georgia Bulldogs. He never played a down of football at the college level, but damn, he's got a mind of his own when it comes to defense. He is an absolute legend. And what a story from Mike Mack. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Hammy Show, presented by First American Bank and Trust. This is the Daily Ham, episode 7, installment 7 of this great daily show we're bringing you every single weeknight, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's awesome. We're going around the world of sports and talking anything and everything ball. Anything that is going on, we've got you here covered on the Daily Ham. So let's jump right into it. But we've got to talk about my friends at First American Bank and Trust, only the best bank in all of the land. They are our presenting sponsor, and we would not be here without them. So a huge, huge shout out to First American Bank and Trust. All right, episode 7. Of course, the headline of today. Super Bowl 60. Final score, Seahawks 29, Patriots 13. The Seahawks, one of the most dominant performances in Super Bowl history. Defensively speaking, it was utter domination from start to finish, from when the game kicked off to when the fat lady sang and the Lombardi trophy was hoisted. It was Seahawks through and through. Seattle is unbelievable. Their defense, Mike Mack at head coach, one of the most masterful defensive coaching performances, coaching schemes, coaching game plans from head coach Mike Macdonald. He is the first Super Bowl champion head coach to be the defensive play caller and the head coach. Crazy little stat right there, but he's also the first defensive-minded head coach to win the Super Bowl since Bill Belichick did. And before him, when it's not Bill Belichick or it's not Mike Macdonald, the last one, Pete Carroll, when the Seahawks last won a Super Bowl over the Broncos in Super Bowl 49. So just craziness from this defensive domination of the Seahawks. But let's go through the stats. Let's go through the game. Let's go through everything that happened last night at Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco. It was awesome. The scene, the weather, everything about it was teed up for one of the great Super Bowls in the history of the NFL. But the Seattle defense stole the show. One of the most historic defenses all season long, and then one of the most historic performances in the Super Bowl from this defense. We had the Legion of Boom and the vintage Seattle Seahawks with Pete Carroll at the helm, Cam Chancellor, there were so many. Richard Sherman, those guys were unreal. But this defense has been insane all year long, and they're not the Legion of Boom. They're something entirely different, maybe even better than the Legion of Boom. It all starts with DeMarcus Lawrence, in my opinion. Sat right here on a podcast last week with my good buddy Jack Wright. We talked about keys to the game, X factors in the game, and DeMarcus Lawrence was one of those. Key matchup against DeMarcus Lawrence was Will Campbell, offensive lineman for the Patriots. DeMarcus Lawrence absolutely owned Will Campbell all night long. Jack got on here, talked about how Will Campbell's short arms are really going to hurt him in this Super Bowl, and it was true. It was terrible for Will Campbell all night long. Those short arms had no match for the great DeMarcus Lawrence. I want to talk about DeMarcus Lawrence real quick. So he said in a preseason interview, talked about how Dallas was his home. He had built his home there, but he knew he wasn't going to win a Super Bowl ring. He gave a little chuckle on air, and then he was like, I'm going to win one in Seattle. He knew it from the get-go that it was going to be in Seattle where he would raise that Lombardi trophy and get a Super Bowl ring, and boy, was he right. He was outstanding last night, but the defense as a whole, 6 sacks. They got to Drake May 6 times, 8 tackles for a loss, 2 interceptions, one of those being a pick 6, and a fumble forced and fumble recovered. Insane from Seattle's defense. On the offensive side, Sam Darnold was just enough. He didn't have to be Mr. Superman. He didn't have to do it all because The defense won this game for them, but Sam Darnold did just enough offensively to keep Seattle ahead of the chains and ahead of New England. 19 for 38 for 202 yards, a touchdown. It was just perfect. It's all you needed from Sam Darnold. And I'm not saying, a lot of people are going to say about this playoff run, oh, Seattle's defense carried them all the way through. Seattle's defense won them this Super Bowl. Well, guys, we got to go back to the NFC Championship. Without Sam Darnold playing perfect against that Rams defense, against Matthew Stafford, the eventual MVP of the league, they would not be in this position. They would not be playing for the Super Bowl. Sam Darnold won them the NFC Championship. They would not be hoisting the Lombardi Trophy without Sam Darnold. What a story from Darnold. 4 prior teams that he was on. Drafted to the New York Jets in 2018, the number 3 overall pick in the same class with guys like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield. And he is the first one to get to the Super Bowl, first one to win the Super Bowl. And one of the craziest story arcs of a quarterback we've ever seen in NFL history. From the Jets to the Panthers to the 49ers as a backup to the Vikings, where he takes them to a 14-3 season, but an early exit from the playoffs. Everybody says Sam Darnold is seeing ghosts. Everybody says Sam Darnold can't win the big one. Sam Darnold can't do this, can't do that. Well, he just won Super Bowl 60. Awesome story from Sam Darnold. Then the Super Bowl MVP, the rushing attack of Seattle, headlined by Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker, the Michigan State graduate, unbelievable performance, 27 carries, 135 yards, 5 yards per carry. He had a 30-yard long. He had a touchdown called back toward the end of the game thanks to a holding call, but Kenneth Walker very much deserving of that MVP. He has not been that guy all season long. And I think what Kenneth Walker has done or did last night in the Super Bowl just solidified his case in free agency this upcoming offseason. He's going to have to be paid, and it's going to be well worth it, because if he is the lead back, if there is no Charbonnet in the backfield with him, Kenneth Walker can still be that guy for this Seattle offense. His rushing attack last night was something we haven't seen from him in the majority of his NFL career. It was something that kind of came out of the blue. I sat on here with Jack Wright on our preview of the Super Bowl, and we were like, we just haven't seen Kenneth Walker do much. I will say, I'm going to give myself a little credit. I said, I know Kenneth Walker, he hadn't been that guy, but he's done just enough. He was a huge factor in their win over the Rams in the NFC Championship. So I'm a huge Kenneth Walker fan, and all the props to him for a Super Bowl MVP case last night. 135 yards, ladies and gentlemen. Just insane from number 9 on the Seahawks. Cooper Kupp stepped up when JSN goes down. I think if you would have told me Sunday before the game kicked off, if Jackson Smith-Njigba was held to 27 yards receiving and 4 receptions, you would have told me that the Patriots ran away with this one. They would have absolutely dubbed, and it wouldn't have even been close, right? Nope. Wrong. JSN goes out with an injury, most likely a concussion, and Cooper Kupp steps up, does just enough. He was just enough in that wide receiver room, in that position, to get some big-time first downs, to keep some drives going. Cooper Kupp, 6 receptions, 61 yards, at 10.2 yard per catch. That's all you can ask for from Cooper Kupp, a guy who, much like Sam Darnold, was a super highly touted. He had a great NFL career, unlike Darnold before getting to Seattle. He was the best receiver in the entire NFL with the Rams, but he's kind of dropped to the wayside, and he goes to Seattle, is past his prime. Everybody's not really thinking about Cooper Kupp, and Cooper Kupp does just enough to help the Seattle team to a Super Bowl win. Awesome stuff. Ernest Jones on the defensive side of the ball. Other than DeMarcus Lawrence, he's your player of the game defensively. 10 solo tackles, 11 total. He was flying around the field. And then special teams. This was my favorite part of the game. It was really the only part of the game that we got for the first 3 quarters. Jason Myers had the case to win MVP for the Seattle Seahawks. 5 for 5, 17 total points between his 5 field goals and 2 PATs. He really could have won this MVP. Been the first kicker to do so in Super Bowl history. Most field goals made in a Super Bowl in the history of this league. Excuse me. And he also shattered LaDainian Tomlinson's record of the most points scored in a single season playoffs included. So Jason Myers, huge shout out to him. I'm just going to keep going down the list because Seattle played near perfect ball. Staying on the special team side of things, Michael Dixon, the Seattle punter, huge performance last night, a huge factor in this win. 3 punts inside the 20-yard line. He had 335 total yards of punt yards, 7 punts, 47.9-yard average. I mean, you can't ask for more from a punter. New England's punter had 8 punts on the night, 356 yards. He played an exceptional game as well. But when your special teams is going through the motions, doing it, that's what you need. If special teams is not the headline of a game, then you are golden. Because if special teams is the headline of a game, it's more times than not, a muffed punt, a fair catch inside the 10-yard line, something stupid on the punt team. Well, this punter, Michael Dixon, just went out there and blew it out of the water. 3 punts inside the 20-yard line. Michael Dixon, huge performance from him. Rashid Shaheed, he just fair caught the ball, and that's all you can ask for. It was awesome to see this perfect play from special teams. And I know Mike Macdonald, head coach Mike Macdonald, has a significant value placed on his special teams and on his on that Seattle portion of the game, and they answered the bell last night. So Mike Mack, defensive genius, first defensive mind, like I said, to win a Super Bowl since Bill Belichick did with the Patriots in their last Super Bowl. Other than Bill Belichick, he is the first defensive-minded coach to win a Super Bowl since Pete Carroll and Seattle did in their last Super Bowl when they defeated the Broncos. So just crazy stuff from that defense. I can't stop talking about Seattle. It was unbelievable what they did. A few storylines. Obviously, Sam Darnold, his story arc as a quarterback, one of the most insane ones we've ever seen in NFL history. Mike Mack, a former intern with the Baltimore Ravens, becomes the defensive coordinator and then is hired away to Seattle to be their head coach. But before any of his NFL coaching days began, he was at the University of Georgia. He was just trying to get in front of any locker room he could, trying to just get on the gridiron as a coach anywhere he could. He was a volunteer coach at Cedar Shoals High School in Athens, Georgia. And then he's a grad assistant for the Georgia Bulldogs. He never played a down of football at the college level, but damn, he's got a mind of his own when it comes to defense. He is an absolute legend. And what a story from Mike Mack. But an even cooler part was after the game in the post-game ceremony, trophy ceremony, Maria Taylor, who is the hardest working woman in sports, a friend of the program to the Hammy Show, Maria Taylor and Mike Macdonald, high school classmates at Roswell High in Roswell, Georgia, then University of Georgia graduates together. They are on the stage as one of the great personalities in all of sports broadcasting, and now the greatest coach in the NFL, a Super Bowl champion coach, Mike Macdonald. Very cool story from the University of Georgia, Maria Taylor and Mike Macdonald. Let's talk about the Patriots and what happened, what went wrong real quick. Drake May, fumbles. Man, when you go against a team like Seattle, a team in Seattle who did not have a single turnover this entire offseason, crazy stat in itself. The Patriots just put the ball on the ground way too many times. Drake May sets an NFL record for the most fumbles in a single postseason. He has one last night. He throws 2 interceptions. One of them was it was one of the most mind-boggling poor throws I've seen, especially in a Super Bowl, in a postseason game. You cannot make those mistakes, especially when you're fighting back. You're trying to claw your way back into this game. Drake May folds at the last second. Patriots, you crumble. Where I really think they went wrong was offensive line play. I hate to say it about Will Campbell. I hate to say it about Jared Wilson, but that Seattle defensive line owned the Patriots the Patriots offensive line all night long. DeMarcus Lawrence was everywhere, and it was Will Campbell and Jared Wilson. They are rookies. They are young guys, and they will have long, illustrious careers. I think they'll be great NFL players, but it's just that youthfulness in that system. You've got to get some experience. You've got to get some years under your belt. You've got to take the step forward when it comes to next season if they want to be competitive, if they want to protect Drake May. I think that's where things really went wrong for this New England team. Let's talk about the halftime show. I know everybody was asking me about it in the mailbag segment. Man, I couldn't understand a word he said, so that's pretty much all I got to say. I didn't know what to think, I just couldn't understand a single thing that he said. So there really is no thoughts on it other than I can't understand a single word he said. But that does it for the Super Bowl, guys. What a win by Seattle. What a win for head coach Mike McDonald, for a guy like Sam Darnold to be the quarterback of a Super Bowl winning team. What a story for Kenneth Walker to win Super Bowl MVP. Then you got a guy like Jason Myers, who's kind of the X factor of this game last night. Insanity from Jason Myers, 5 for 5 last night, 17 total points from the kicker. Could have very well been the MVP, but hell of a performance from the entire Seattle team in the Super Bowl last night. What a game. It was quite boring, thanks to Seattle just dominating from start to finish. We got some comments coming in, and while we're focused on football from Falcons Productions, James Pierce Jr. thoughts, oh, gosh, it hurts me. It hurts me because you hate to see a guy with that much talent just throw their career away for just something stupid, and it really sucks. You've seen it so many times that guys, when they get to this high level, when they make all this money, when they have all these fast cars and feel like untouchable people, you see them throw away their careers. And to be quite frank, I think he has thrown his career away. Cade Black weighing in, his career is over, and he's really stupid to throw away millions of dollars. I couldn't agree more. He has thrown away his career in the NFL. There's really no coming back from this, and it sucks to see. And I'm not defending him in the slightest. What he did is a heinous crime, could never be praised, or obviously, but like, when you have a guy like that with all that talent, it sucks to see them make such stupid mistakes and stupid decisions that cost them millions of dollars. Not only that, but a career, a Hall of Fame bid, a Super Bowl chance, anything that comes with the game of football at the professional level. It sucks to see a guy like that throwing that away. But yeah, man, of course, given the response for that, it really sucks to see for James Pierce. But hey, Falcons defense still got Jalen Walker. I think you still got a stout front. I think the Falcons will be fine, and I think the Falcons are going to take a step forward next year with Stefanski at the helm. So I'm excited to see what comes from the Falcons. Probably not a Super Bowl, but I think with Stefanski at the helm, the Falcons are surely getting better. Let's go to golf. Let's go to the links. What a weekend it was at the Waste Management. One of my favorite tournaments, one of my favorite fan spectacles in all of sport. The 16th hole, the Coliseum at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, is electricity. It is electricity from 5 a.m. in the morning until 8 p.m. at night when the final group comes through, whatever time it is. Amazing stuff. We saw some amazing theatrics from there this weekend. We saw some amazing performances from the drunk people there this weekend. So it was a super fun weekend for the Waste Management. But let's talk about the golf. It's not just about the fans for that tournament. Chris Gotterup, what a performance in the playoff. Takes down Hideki Matsuyama at a 16 underscore. He gets his second win in 4 events of these first 4 PGA Tour events in this season. Chris Gotterup is on a mission. He seems like one of the best golfers in the world. You got to talk about Scotty. Scotty, what a surge he had on Sunday. What a performance to claw all the way back from +2 after day 1 and get himself all the way back into the running. He finishes tied for 3rd at 15 under. Insane stuff there from Scotty Scheffler on his Sunday surge. Next week, we got the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Scotty's obviously an early favorite. I want to talk about Scotty real quick again at the Waste Management. We talked about him after day 1 on the Daily Ham, episode 6 last Thursday. Talked about how everybody around him in the standings where they were after day 1 had +70 or +25,000 odds or greater. And Scotty Scheffler, tied for 97th, had +1,900 odds. If you got him, after day one. What a performance you could get, or what a bet you could have hit. But still, insane stuff from Scotty Scheffler. He is undoubtedly the best golfer in the world. But hey, the weekend belongs to Chris Gotterup. The weekend belongs to the fans. The weekend belongs to the Waste Management, and golf is back, ladies and gentlemen. Could not be more stoked for this PGA Tour season. Let's talk about a quick friend we have in Hughes Subaru. Hughes Subaru is the greatest car dealership in all of America. I drive a 2019 Subaru Outback from Hughes Subaru of Athens. It's my second ever car, and ladies and gentlemen, it has done me nothing but good. I love that car, and Hughes Subaru is powering me and my 2019 Subaru Outback around the entire United States for the Hammy Show on the road. We're going to baseball games, basketball games. Throughout football season, we went to various college campuses. Ladies and gentlemen, Hughes Subaru of Athens is the best in the entire world. And we have so many trips planned. So stay tuned for the Hammy Show on the road here on Instagram and TikTok. We've got the best social content in the entire universe when we hit the road in the Subaru Outback from Hughes Subaru. So thanks to them for powering the Hammy Show on the road. Okay. Olympics. Winter Olympics are well underway, and the storyline from the weekend is an unfortunate one in Lindsey Vonn. Lindsey Vonn, in a training run earlier last week, tears her ACL, I think ruptures her meniscus. It was all kinds of craziness on her knee. She probably shouldn't have raced, but she is a competitor at heart, and it's her final Olympics, her fifth Olympics at 41 years old. One of the greats to ever do it, Lindsey Vonn. Then on her first run in Olympic competition, has a brutal crash, is airlifted out off of the slopes in a horrifying scene. It was brutal to watch, heart-wrenching to watch. Our prayers, our thoughts go out to Lindsey Vonn. Unfortunately, that was the headline coming from the Winter Olympics. But guys, we have so much more coming from the Winter Olympics, and we're going to bring you updates every single afternoon here on the Daily Ham from the Winter Olympics. We got hockey coming up later this week, Thursday, Saturday. Team USA plays against Germany's one of them. I can't remember who else, but we've got a pretty winnable path for this Team USA to get pretty far in this tournament, in the medal matches and things like that. And it's looking like Canada and Team USA are on a collision course to do something special. And maybe that Team USA can have that coveted gold medal for the first time since 1980 when Miracle on Ice took place. What a great movie. What a great moment for Team USA. All right, next up, college baseball. Ladies and gentlemen, college baseball is back this week. Yes, you heard that right. College baseball, the greatest show on dirt, the road to Omaha. It all begins on Friday afternoon as college baseball gets underway. First pitch, ladies and gentlemen, we are absolutely stoked. I'm fired up. College baseball behind college football is my favorite sport in all of sports. I love college baseball, and the Hammy Show on the road, thanks to Hughes Subaru, will be at countless games across the country this spring. So stay tuned for our college baseball coverage on social media. Here on the Daily Ham, we're bringing you constant updates. So let's talk about some notable matchups this weekend. We got the Shriner Children's College Showdown, big-time teams, but the headline game of the weekend is number 9 TCU versus number 23 Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, a historic program, one of the best baseball programs in all of America. Number 23, which is quite low for the Commodores, the Vandy boys, but they're taking on a very talented TCU Horned Frogs team. I'm absolutely juiced up for this one. Stay tuned for some updates there on social media and here on the Daily Ham. Then we got number 8 Louisville taking on Michigan State, in Louisville. Arkansas, number 7 Arkansas versus Oklahoma State. That's another one in the Shriners Children's College Showdown. It's going to be a jam-packed weekend full of college baseball. Of course, it's non-conference play here for the first couple of weeks of the college baseball season, but there are some big-time non-conference games coming to you, and then before we get into conference play. So stay tuned on the college baseball front. We're going to have a lot coming from there, including tomorrow. Jack DeLong Champs, one of my great buddies, and the host, owner, founder of Pencil Talk, is coming on the Hammy Show. We're doing a full college baseball preview before the season starts this Friday. We'll release it on Wednesday morning, so stay tuned for that. We're going to have plenty of clips coming from there on the social media and the full episode here on YouTube. So keep an eye out for our college baseball preview with Jack DeLong Champs and Pencil Talk. All right. College basketball. We're going to close out with some college basketball. College basketball was maybe the greatest weekend of college basketball we've seen in a very long time. College basketball, UNC Duke, one of the great rivalries in all of sports, gave us one of the greatest moments in that rivalry. UNC, Seth Trimble with the buzzer beater to take down number 4 Duke. The number 11 Tar Heels remain victorious 71-68 in the Dean Dome. It was awesome. On Franklin Street post game, the storming of the court. What a scene in Chapel Hill. The Tar Heels, man. They're getting hot. They're looking really good. I love this Tar Heels team. And what a moment from Seth Trimble. A senior on that team. Hubert Davis hits the podium, head coach of the Tar Heels, after the game, says, there is nobody on this team that deserved to hit that shot more than Trimble. He has given his heart and soul to Carolina. He bleeds that Carolina blue, and what a moment for the senior at UNC. 71-68, UNC over Duke. And then another top 10 matchup. Michigan State, number 10 in the country, takes on number 8 Illinois, and Izzo and the boys get a massive dub, 85-82. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, these two games back-to-back during playing at the same time, it was awesome. It was an all-time college basketball Saturday. If you missed it, I'm sorry, because it was amazing. And I was absolutely glued to my TV watching these top 10 matchups happen just right around the corner. So we've got some March Madness coming. We've got some conference tournaments coming. College basketball is in the most perfect swing of things. It's a glorious sport. And once we get to March, we're going to have so much stuff coming for you. We are heading to the SEC basketball tournament in Nashville, Tennessee, in the middle of March. Stay tuned for that. But college hoops, guys, get you on some college hoops. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Athlete of the day today, Devin Hester, Chicago Bears legend, Atlanta Falcons legend, Miami Hurricanes legend, Devin Hester, one of the greats in the return game in special teams, probably the GOAT when it comes to that. Only Cordero Patterson has more special teams touchdowns, more return touchdowns than Devin Hester. So, Devin Hester, your athlete of the day. Our athlete of the day is a fun segment we're doing here on social media, TikTok and Instagram, bringing you an athlete of the day with some hype music behind it, doing a little mixtape type feel, and it is all brought to you by the Vinyl Frontier. The Vinyl Frontier is the coolest place to find any vinyl in the United States of America. It's a record store in Carrollton, Georgia, the city of dreams, right on the town square. The Vinyl Frontier, ladies and gentlemen, has any record on vinyl you can imagine. It's all about the experience. Getting to Carrollton, going to the record store and picking out your vinyl, putting it on the 8-track, talking to the guys behind the desk and figuring out what type of music, what artist you like, buying that record. But if you can't get to Carrollton, if you're not driving down I-20 and you're pulling off in the city of dreams, then you can go to their website, thevinylfrontier.com, and get any vinyl record in the entire universe from the Vinyl Frontier. So we really appreciate the Vinyl Frontier bringing you and presenting our athlete of the day every single day here on the Hammy Show. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was a jam-packed show. Of course, Super Bowl 60 headlines it all with the Seahawks dubbing 29-13 over the Patriots. Domination from Mike Mack and that Seattle defense. What a weekend of sports, though. Football is officially over. But boy, are we slowing down, not one bit. Not one bit. College baseball is going to be the focus of Hammy Show on the road, as well as college basketball. NBA still happening. There's so much going on. Of course, golf as well. I mean, how could you forget about golf? So right here on the Hammy Show, we've got everything you can imagine. So guys, you don't want to miss it. Here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you really, really care about the Hammy Show, hit that bell, hit that little notifications button, and you will get alerted every time we post a video on YouTube. Here on Instagram, at The Hammy Show, we have the best content in all of sports. Same thing on TikTok, at @the_Hammy Show, as well as x.com at @the_Hammy Show. We're coming to you live tomorrow, once again at 6 p.m., episode 8. This is episode 7. This is the Hammy Show presented by First American Bank and Trust. I'm your host, Hammy Culpepper. We're signing off, and as always, ham it up, ladies and gentlemen.